Okay, so yesterday we did a video on the Antminer Z9 Mini, a brand new ASIC released or announced by Bitmain that's going to be shipping and mining Equihash coins like Zcash and Zcash. But what has happened in the last 24 hours, and how have the leadership of those different teams responded? What are they going to do in response to Bitmain's announcement? Welcome back, my name is Seth Estrada, and if you are watching this video, you're probably on my YouTube channel, Seth Estrada. Now, yesterday I posted a video regarding the Antminer Z9 Mini, and it's going to mine Equihash at 10,000 solutions per second at a power consumption of less than 500 watts. It's pretty revolutionary. It's actually going to be pretty disruptive, and there's a lot to discuss about what the ramifications are there. But first, let's go over some news over the last 24 hours. First off, Telegram, the ICO that we all thought was coming has been pivoted. That's right, pivot. So, yes, the Durov brothers have decided to take the money and run, essentially. They were able to do enough private equity, enough of a private equity raise, enough of a private funding up front with accredited investors that they pretty much didn't have to go the ICO route. And frankly, I think that's probably a really good choice, because they won't have to deal with any kind of regulatory painfulness, headache, right? They've got the money, they can get started with what they have right now on the Telegram open network. So whether or not there's any kind of a token distribution or token sale later on, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. And in the meantime, speaking of waiting and seeing, sometimes that's all it takes
to stop those for a combination of reasons. One is actually
to get crypto payments back on Reddit.
On the Bitcoin network have gotten really large. When we're talking about a $4 gold transaction and it costs upwards of $10 to actually do a fee, it's really hard to proposition the users they should do that. Other things is, like, we've been using Coinbase as one of our main processors. They're doing a great job. They're doing a major revitalization of their payment gateway. We just didn't have the time to basically upgrade our current API integration. And so once the redesign kind of finishes landing and we're able to actually address it again, I think we'll actually see crypto payments come back.
And do you expect that it...
What? Okay, I know she's got great things to say, but that's kind of the important thing right now, is that crypto payments may well be coming back to Reddit. Stay tuned. All right. Some news right here on whattomine.com. Under the ASIC section, they've listed Kryptonite, and I just watched a video. I've got to give a link in the description, or a link down below, as to where it comes from. But 220 kilohashes is sort of like the new standard for Kryptonite, right? With the Antminer X3. But did you know that when you overclock the Antminer X3, it's actually capable of much more? Yes, this is breaking. The Antminer X3 can now do 320 kilohashes per second at a rough power consumption of about 600 to 700 watts. Let's go on the heavy side here, on the high side here, call it 750 watts. And when we calculate for the new production of the Antminer X3, it actually puts it into competitive territory on NiceHash, for example. Now, for as long as this lasts, as definitely the difficulty is going to go up as more and more Antminer X3 owners kind of become hip to this and make the change for themselves. But right here, Digital Note is up high on the list, but even NiceHash on Kryptonite is higher than Electroneum by 10 bucks a day in terms of the actual profit. And again, the daily loss, the daily cost to operate that is like $1 to get that $70. So if you happen to have more than one of these at home, if you're able to get your hands on more than a couple, then you're doing about $70 a day on each of those, which means your break-even point might actually be in sight. You might not be totally out of luck. Now, do I think it's a good idea to buy one of these now? No. I still say stay away. Don't get one. But if you already have one, take heart, right? You may be able to break even on something as simple to use as NiceHash. In fact, it might be a better option than Digital Note or Electroneum. Electroneum recently had, it's suspected that because of the Antminer X3, recently had an attempted 51% attack on their network. Again, this is the problem with when massive hashing power hits the network in a centralized fashion, right? And this is why decentralization is so important. I sincerely hope the Zcash team is watching this video and paying attention. There is that window of opportunity for bad actors to step in and attempt to attack the network. And they only have to attack it successfully once to really give everyone a bad day. So Carbova nets haven't changed yet. Bitcoin, of course, still really, really high block rewards for mining there. So they're still fairly profitable, but not nearly to the extent that even just nice hash right now. They're paying good money for your Kryptonite hash power if you're on the X3. So check out, do a Google search or do a YouTube search for overclock Antminer X3. You won't be disappointed. You may be able to improve the odds of actually breaking even on that hardware. Now let's talk about the Z9 Mini. After all, there are multiple coins that it should mine when it does finally hit the streets, right? But let's take a look at what to mine, and the short list here. Top of the list is Zcash, but that's not because of overall profit right now. There are a couple of coins that are slightly more profitable today. Bitcoin Private is one of them. Z Classic is also profitable. If you're mining for nice hash, of course, you can earn some profit, almost a little bit more, actually, it looks like, than Zcash, than ZEC. Bitcoin Gold, same territory. Zen also. Hush, just a little bit less, and then Komodo at the bottom of the list. If you have that kind of hash power, right, 10,000 souls per second. But the question is, how do any of these networks plan to respond to the announcement of the Z9 Mini? Well, let's take a look at the official response from the Zcash team. So right here, here's Zuko. Zcash, he's the most visible Zcash team member, and he finally responded to a very long thread. You see right here off to the right side of the screen. Ah, no, I lost it. Oh. You know what? I'm so used. Oh, I was used to, there we go. No! There was a back button. I totally didn't use it. Okay, so we're going to scroll back down, try to get a hold of this most recent quote from Zuko, but let me summarize for you really briefly. There we go. Whoa. I'm not going to answer questions like this. We're not on trial here. I think what you want to know is something like, are you secretly colluding with Bitmain to harm us? We're definitely not doing anything or planning anything that would benefit the Zcash company at the expense of others. We're definitely not doing anything that would be shameful if people find out or anything like that. So I guess the real question is, what is happening exactly then? I would definitely be willing to talk to ASIC manufacturers, GPU manufacturers, other mining operations, etc. Get in touch. Okay, so Zuko came onto this thread and really got started months ago because people began asking about ASIC mining months ago. Here's the thing. This has been going on for months and months and months. Okay, so a month later, we're talking sometime in April at this point, so nearly a month ago. Hey folks, just to know that I'm paying attention and thinking about this, plus I read about a third of this thread so far. I'm not going to write my thoughts here right now. No time! No time. He keeps coming back to this. I know he's a busy guy, but he's the most visible person on the Zcash Co. team. So it's I won't say that it's categorically inappropriate as much as I will just say that it's categorically inappropriate. You need to make time for your tribe, right? You need to make time for people who are making time for you. People who are mining for you 24/7, right? So this is urgent for them, right? They want to know. Before reading the whole thread, I'd like to challenge everyone to look for data that supports, or even better, refutes your hypotheses. Yeah, totally got it. Yeah, we can look for that. That's totally fine. But there's some basic logic that supports most people's hypotheses when it comes to GPU crypto mining versus ASIC mining. And when you're talking about maintaining the goodwill of people, that's not how you do it, Zuko. It's not how you do it. You don't throw them back on their heels, per se. This is not a good look for you. Okay, so, moving down. Is the war against ASICs worth fighting? Really a lot of comments from Zuko that kind of indicate that he's not really interested in fighting ASIC, the predominance of ASICs in mining. I'm not too motivated by PR messaging concerns. First of all, I think we should do what's right. It's sometimes hard to tell what that is. Second of all, I think we should do what matches the values and opinions of a lot of members of the community. Okay, but if most of the members of the community are actually telling you that they think something is right, that actually fills both requirements, right? It's actually the right thing to do, and it's a PR messaging thing when you agree with them and you don't put them down and you don't throw them back on their heels. Okay, The Zcash company and the Zcash Foundation are mutually independent. Neither one has any legal or financial control over the other one, so there may be some issues with getting this enacted quickly. I think he's got a really good point there. Data points on other coins we can learn from. Saya Coin, they announced long ago that they had decided ASIC mining was better for security than GPU mining, for reasons they explained at length in this post. Where is Saya now? Take a look at its market cap. Take a look at its trade volume daily, please, sir. So you can post that. That's fine, but that is nearly a year old. Okay, so let's move down to the day that it was actually announced. Right, the ASIC was actually announced. Okay, hey folks, I don't even have time to write complete replies here, much less read all of these hundreds of messages. I hope that someone is somehow boiling down the major sentiments and ideas for me and others to use. Haha, yours truly. Maybe the Zcash Foundation's voting protocol will serve for that purpose, not sure. Jumping in here to say two things. Number one, I'm really chagrined that I let it sound like we were committing to a social contract of ongoing ASIC resistance. That is absolutely never what I had intended to commit to. Because A, I always thought that it would probably become impossible long term, and B, I always believed there was a fundamental trade-off between widespread distribution of the coins on one hand, and miners having a large sunk cost investment into the coin on the other hand. And that the latter might eventually prove to be valuable for attack resistance and network stability. I still believe both of these things, even if ASIC resistance is possible this year and next year. It will almost certainly become impossible given enough scale and enough years. And distributing coins widely with a commodity proof of work is fundamentally incompatible with locking miners into a sunk cost investment incentive alignment with custom proof of work, and the latter has advantages that might eventually prove to be important. Now, what is he saying? Let's boil it down, shall we, Zuko? That's what you requested that I do. What you're saying essentially is that there's a balance between your belief that it's, well, basically impossible to stave off ASIC resistance or ASICs for the long haul. You may well be true, but that's like saying it's impossible to stave off AI. You can still shape it. You can still direct it. Can't you? If you have your hands on the reins, aren't you the guy? And then B, you're saying there's a trade-off between widespread distribution of the coins, but then miners having sunk cost to feel tied to producing the coin and to protecting the blockchain. But what you're failing to acknowledge in this argument is that people who've invested in GPU, who have sunk cost investment into GPUs, do not have sunk cost investment into your coin. Period. If you want that, you should go with masternodes. That is a sunk cost investment into your coin. Those of us who do GPU crypto mining have a sunk cost investment into infrastructure, mining infrastructure, and actually very flexible mining infrastructure that is kind of independent of your opinion of ASIC resistance. But here's the bottom line. Let's go ahead and I guess we'll read a little bit more here. He has one more point. I've already read ahead. Sorry, boys and girls. But says, I've been trying to educate myself about the state of cryptocurrency mining. I'm getting in touch with various big mining operations to try to understand their economics. I'm also learning about energy production, direct contracts with plants, instead of sucking from the grid, renewables, etc. One major unanswered question in my mind is, suppose you have a large profitable GPU mining farm. Why don't you reinvest all your profits in scaling it up? In other words, why haven't professional large-scale GPU mining operations already driven small-time miners out of business? So first off, Zuko, these are logical fallacies, buddy. That just simply does not follow. Sorry, that question does not follow. That's not the same question. Reinvesting all of your profits and scaling up, sure, that works, but it's not necessarily an exponential scaling up, isn't it? Right? Especially if mining your coin, there are dips, there are peaks and valleys in profitability. Ergo, there can't be an exponential scaling up. So somebody who starts with 1 doesn't necessarily double their mine to 2, and that doesn't necessarily double their quantity into 4. That makes sense? 1x doesn't become 2x, 2x doesn't become 4x in a predictable period of time, mining one coin. Okay. He says, one thing I've learned along the way is that GPU mining is absolutely essential to Zcashers in Venezuela. As Venezuelans try to import ASIC miners for Bitcoin currently, then they risk having the miners stolen or extorted by the army, which controls all imports. GPUs are not yet nabbed on import like that. And anyway, there are a lot more GPUs already floating around inside Venezuela. This really goes to the point that Simon has made a few times in this thread that custom mining hardware is more vulnerable to special treatment by authorities. Oh, bottom line, by the way, is that I'm basically still in the same place now that I was 4 years ago when we first decided to go for widespread distribution of coins at the expense of sunk cost incentive alignment. I still think that widespread distribution of coins is more important, but I still think that it can't last forever, and that the other side of the trade-off may also prove to be important. Got it. Now, frankly, he goes on to say a lot of other stuff. Somebody gets a little bit nasty. CryptoMom asks the question whether or not... Let me see if it's direct right there. It might not be. But CryptoMom asks the question, essentially, did you know about the ASIC miners being developed by Bitmain? Because it begs that question. I'm sorry, Zuko. It's just such bad optics. It begs the question because this thread has been open for months, since February. And then you say, I'm not going to answer questions like this. We're not on trial here. I think what you want to know is something like, are you secretly colluding with Bitmain to harm us? We're definitely not doing anything or planning anything that would benefit the Zcash company at the expense of others. And we're definitely not doing anything that would be shameful if people found out or anything like that. We have a long, proud track record of transparency and honesty. I would definitely be willing to talk to ASIC manufacturers, GPU manufacturers, other mining operations, and mining products, etc., etc. Get in touch. But then, this is tough. I mean, my heart does go out to Zuko. You're in a tough spot because you got a lot of scrutiny right now, a lot of heat. And kudos to you for saying anything publicly at all, even if it's, you know, maybe not the right thing, by saying that you want to do the right thing, but then not paying attention to people that are talking to you. Still, my hat goes off to you because it's hard to stand in front of this much heat. Okay. Mind blown. 2 technical ideas, one of which seems to fix the worst risk with commodity mining, one of which makes ASIC mining produce more value for the ecosystem in the world. Now, I'm a little bit concerned because he's trying to tell everybody that's right at his front door with their GPU-shaped pitchforks why they need to go and jump on the ASIC bandwagon with him, mentally, or ideologically. I don't think it's going to work. Again, it's more of the same problem, fundamental problem. Okay, so it looks like there are people still replying. Now, I've got to say that CryptoMom right here, I definitely have appreciated quite a bit of what CryptoMom has said. So let's filter down CryptoMom's questions here. I'll be blunt. If you don't mitigate like Monero and instead embrace ASIC, I'm out. 100% out. Won't be back. I won't be back kind of out. I am sure I'm not alone in this sentiment. Now, this is back in March. Has anyone asked Zuko on the record if he has been in contact with any chip manufacturer? Now, this is a month ago, because it does seem weird. I'm not going to question the guy's motives. I'm not going to say that he's gone so far as to collude with Bitmain, but what I am going to say is that CryptoMom is asking some questions. He needs to cut this stuff and either step down or give us a clear-cut darn answer one way or the other. And yes, totally agree. Okay, so I think we've gotten a non-answer. Why are you only concerned with them? Large-scale operations. Either way, make a decision. Essentially, she's put him into a corner, and I really appreciate that. CryptoMom, I think you win the Tiger Mom award. All right, so Zcash, what happened? The ASICs are here. What does the community think? This is totally community-driven, by the way. Be the equivalent to 25 GTX 1070s costing over $9,000 with a power usage of over 2.5 kilowatts. I'll just post what I think here. Pros of ASIC mining, cons of ASIC mining, pros of GPU mining, cons of GPU mining, and no other actual bottom lines. Higher hash rate, and literally only 9 comments, one of which is mine. Anyway, non-answer from Zcash. May the 4th be with you. That's pretty much their answer. Thanks, Zcash. Z Classic is kind of also not saying anything. Bitcoin Private. They say join them on their Discord and talk to them. They're listening closely to all the thoughtful arguments being made about the recent release of Equihash ASICs. Community consensus must determine the response to this. Join the discussion in our public Discord. And for the win, Bitcoin Gold. Bitcoin Gold made it very clear, abundantly clear, that they will be forking proof of work. So Bitcoin Gold, good on ya. There's a reason that they are, well, GPU miners are flocking to Bitcoin Gold by the hundreds. So it pays to take a stance. All right, let's talk about the ETH-largement pill. Yeah? Okay, so you may have already read about this. You may have already seen some tests about this. I think Vosk did a test on this, and Bitsby Trippin did a test on this, showing how, yes, it's legit. Yes, it really does make Ethereum mining work better, right? Bigger, faster, stronger, lasting longer. Anyway, so, you know, I mean, I'll let your mind, I wanted to let your mind wander. Anyway, so Virosa Gets is the actual tag of the person who posted this. If you head over to their GitHub account, you can download this for Linux and Windows, and it does help your GTX 1080 Ti hash at over 50 mega hashes per second. Pretty amazing. And a 1080 hash at close to 40, or between 40 and 45 mega hashes per second. Pretty awesome if you already have those. I wouldn't say it's worth going out to buy a GTX 1080 or 1080 Ti just for this software. But if you have one, you might be asking, how can I make it work with mining specific OSs like Simple Mining OS and Hive OS? Well, somebody already beat you to it. Over a week ago, somebody asked on GitHub, how can we get this added to Hive OS? And a process was laid out for them to get that running and, yeah, upload that to their own installation of Hive OS. But lo and behold, Hive OS also added it as a one-button addition to their mining dashboard. All you have to do is click one button, and if you have a 1080 or a 1080 Ti in your mining rig, Hive OS already activates that for you when you're mining Ethereum. You're welcome. I guess courtesy of the Hive OS team. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. All right, so that begs the question, what does efficiency look like now? So I promise we're rounding off the news here, guys. This has been a long one, but it's worth it. Here's the payoff. If you're still mining Ethereum over Zcash, of course, and profits have gone down considerably because, as we all know, Bitmain has obviously been using the new Z9 Mini to mine Equihash coins, right? And everybody's kind of aware of this. Cat's out of the bag, guys, so we're all mining Ethereum and other stuff, right? It's on the top of the profitability lists. But what mines it best now? What mines it most efficiently now? If you had to buy a new card today, what would make a good purchase today in terms of efficiency per watt and bang for the buck? Let's start with bang for the buck right here. Let's start over here on Ethash Dagger, right? Sort the sheet A to Z and boom! But to get started, you're getting more bang for the buck by getting a used card like the R9 295 X2. Why? Because it gets over 60 mega hashes per second, and it's only 700 bucks. That is not true of the 1080 Ti. If you want to buy it in bulk, if you want to buy it now, if you want to have it shipped today, just pay money and have it shipped to you like Amazon Prime 2 days from now, be hashing with it right now, then you're going to pay this amount for that card at over 60 mega hashes per second. You're going to pay this amount for a 1080 Ti. Frankly, you might be able to find it for less, possibly, but it's unlikely if you want to get multiples, right? So go ahead and scour, you hunt for those deals for sure. It's worth it. But realistically, to get your hands on it, it's here. And the 1080 Ti is well below halfway down the list. Same with the 1080. Right? 1080 is right at the middle of the pack. Team Red takes all the top spots. RX 480 all day, RX 570 all day. Just gonna really mop the floor. And the RX 470 is in the top 3. If you want a newer card that's not an R9, older generation card, a Polaris card, then RX 470 at 300 bucks, if you can get it at that price, and multiples of that price, is going to give you better bang for the buck. All right, let's talk about efficiency per watt. What is the current leader, even in the face of, well, even in the face of the new ETH-largement pill? Now I'm going to sort that, and let's move down here, go back to the data so you can see. On the data, just so you can see, 1080 Ti have put 50 mega hashes per second. Now it's possible you can do 54 or 54 and change, as the way that Carter did over at Bitsby Trippin'. Totally possible. But what I'm reading for the majority of users of the ETH-largement pill is that they're averaging somewhere closer to 50. That's still great, right? I mean, you're looking at an increase of where it was before in the mid 30s all the way up to 50. That's amazing. It's huge, right? Totally worth it. And then with the 1080, about 40 on average. You can do better. You definitely can. But very few people are consistently doing better. So this is why I put it there. This spreadsheet is really about giving people a snapshot, an idea of what's possible consistently for almost anybody who gets this card, right? Not just for people who have put in the time to like really get everything fully dialed in and just awesome, right? You can put your numbers in higher if you want, but most of these are based on averages that anyone can achieve. Most of them. All right, so efficiency per watt, drum roll. Yeah, still the GTX 1060. Top of the stack. And then after it, yes, 1080 Ti and 1080 with the new ETH enlargement build. But guess what? The 1060 does not need the ETH enlargement build. The 1060 maintains that advantage across the board on several algorithms. While we're looking at the Equihash, ASIC that's coming out, you can see right here the 1060 is also the top of the stack for Equihash. And when it comes to Kryptonite V7, it's not at the top of the stack per se, but let's just see where it does land. For Team Green, it is at the top of the stack, and it's a top 10 performer, even for Kryptonite, for Monero mining. So if you're all pro Team Green, you really need to be considering the GTX 1060, not just the 1080, not just the 1080 Ti. They're awesome cards, don't get me wrong, and they're fan favorites, but large-scale mining operations tend to favor the RX 470 and the GTX 1060 because of this. What do they know that other people don't? Well, they know how to run a business. So day in, day out, they're making money with these cards. Alrighty, guys. One last thing for the news right here. The BTC B250C LGA 1150 or LGA 1151 motherboard. Kind of an interesting device here, right? You can see that it's got, instead of PCI Express slots, it's got USB slots for you to directly plug GPU PCI Express risers into. So definitely an interesting motherboard. Have you been mining with this motherboard? Tell us about it in the comments. I think that's pretty amazing. Also, if you haven't gone to shop.miner.biz, you can sign up and be notified about what is coming up next. Drum roll. Zen. It's GPU hardware by miner.biz. Now, why did Zen get made? Zen got made because we were tired of using gimmicks to try to get better hash rates across the board. So we created a mining box that's no fuss, no muss, pre-configured, ready to work on HiveOS, or simple mining if you choose to reflash it, and has ultra high hash rates. Double the competitor products that are in a 4U box. All right, guys. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for clicking the subscribe button and pressing the bell icon so you're notified when new videos come out. You're the reason that I make these videos. I love your face. I'll see you in the next one.